Hey everybody, how are we all doing today? Welcome back to session number 9. So number 9 of Tutorial Zenler. That's what we've got in store for you today. So as you all settle in, I'm going to give you a quick recap of where we've been and what we're up to. So we're all fully up to date and we know exactly what is going on. So let me just quickly share. Now, I'm assuming by now most of you have got access to the replays and the emails, and you've signed up on this page for the workshop itself. So this is where you would sign up. We're obviously 1 p.m. GMT, but this will tell you the time in your time, wherever you may be. If you haven't yet signed up and you're on Facebook, then the comment below this, the very top pinned comment below this video, you will see the sign up link. So go there and it will bring you here. So we've covered a lot so far. We're 2/3 of the way through this workshop. We're not done yet. We've got an exciting day today and we still have next week. So we've covered session 1, dashboard and menus. Hopefully you've been through that. That navigates you around the platform itself, how the dashboards work in the different areas and what you can find there. We then looked at the page builder. That was really great because it's a fundamental part of Zenler and it pops up in so many different areas within the platform that it's really important that you understand how a block is layered, how we add elements in and how we can move stuff around, and also how we can do it differently for mobile version against desktop version. As we know, lots of people now use some form of mobile device to view what we're doing. We then looked at pages and blogging, the pre-built pages that are into your site, your Zenler site when you create it, how to edit them, how to adjust them, how to create new pages and clone pages, and how to make a decent looking website out of it. And then we looked at the blogging area, the blogging page, which has the blog roll on it. And then obviously each individual blog post that we can use the internal tools with Zenler to optimize our blog posts. We then had the lives. So we looked at the 5 different lives within the Zen platform, going through the webinars, interactive webinars, one-to-ones, live streams, and live class, what they all meant, how you could access them, and in what situation you'd use each one. So that was really useful. That was session 4. Session 5 and 6, we covered the entirety of courses. So what's involved in a course, how you set one up, all of the pricing options, different options with them, as in bundles and memberships, and all of that stuff. And then in number 6, we did look at everything that's inside of a course. So all of the elements that can add up in a course and how Zenler AI is linked into some of those areas. So for example, with a quiz, if you wanted to set a quiz up for your students, Zenler AI can help you do that, or you can do it yourself. So that was really exciting to go through that. We then looked at marketing funnels, so lead funnels and video funnels, 2 different types, and how you can use funnels to do all sorts of amazing things with the automations and everything else, and just how they work and can be really powerful for your business and for your students. We then on Thursday had communities, looking at the new version of communities. We even did feature release on that live where there was invite to your community button released that day. So there was some really great things that we covered there that were really fresh, because there was 3 or 4 updates that had only been released within the last 10 days. So that was a really great one. If you're looking for communities, to add a community in, it's pretty much there now to replace a Facebook community for you. So if you've not yet dived into that, go and dive into session number 8. And all of the replays are in the replay page. So if you're signed up to this funnel, you'll have been given a link and it will give you the link to the replay page as well, with all of the bonuses and everything else there. So you can go and watch those back. Now, remember, if you are relying on Facebook to show you this in a month's time, you will be sorely disappointed, as Facebook have decided they're going to delete all the lives out of Facebook groups after 30 days. So it's really important you take the opportunity when we do these workshops and we stream them, that you actually come into where we host them in the tutorial site as well. So they will not disappear from there. You can get access to them for a long time to come. So that's really important. So, and that brings me on to today. So today I've got Manmeet with me. She's going to be taking the lead on today. So I see there's loads of you in here, which is great. Hopefully you've got all of your questions lined up. We're going to be covering every aspect of emails within the system today. So everywhere you can find an email, that's what we're going to cover. And believe me, there's some hidden away places where emails like to reside and that you probably haven't looked at or edited. So it's really important that we go through this one today and that you understand exactly where you can access them. And more importantly, and I love email marketing because I think it is still, for me, the best way to gain sales for your business. But if you don't know how to use it in Zenler, you're missing out a little bit. So, Manmeet, I'm going to hand over to you. You're going to take it away for this session, and I'll look after everybody in the chat, hopefully. So I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you, Kevin. Email seems to be one of my favorite as well, because that is the only way where you can get in touch with someone one-to-many, yet it can be personalized and customized. I could be speaking to all of you at once. At the same time, it will be customized. It will come with your personal name. I can have other details personalized as well. And that's the only way where we do mass communication, yet it is personalized. That is why emails are my favorite too. In the system, there are different places where emails are. And like Kevin rightly said, a lot of times we are not aware of what all emails are in the system. So let's get started. And the first and the important thing where emails are the courses area. In Zenler, every part of Zenler has email automations where you can set emails ahead of time, and then on a recurring basis, however you have set them, they will be delivered to your audience on the instructions that you've given to the system. So let's start with the courses email. When you create a course, I will just click on the course. Whenever you create a course, you have an option to set up emails in the automation area. If I go to the automation area here, you'll see enroll email sequence and then course completion email sequence. When I look at enroll email sequence, some of the defaults have been given by Zenler, and then it is up to you if you want to keep increasing these emails. Let's say I just don't want 4 emails, I want more than 4 emails. So I'll click on edit here. And I will click on clone here. When I click on clone, it will give me an option to name the email so that I remember it. I click on clone. Let's say I'll do it here. And I'll click on clone here. And I have one more email here. Similarly, I can have 20 emails, 25 emails to be sent under the enroll email sequence. What are the triggers that we have? One we have, do we want to send it after or on? Which means from the enrollment. Let's say they enrolled into your course on 15th March, 1 p.m. GMT. Do you want to send it one day after they have enrolled or 0 minutes after they have enrolled so that automatically they receive the email? Let's say somebody signed into your course 12 a.m. in the night. Of course, you're not going to be available to send them a welcome email, but they need the validation because they have paid the money or signed up to something, even if it is a free course. That is why if you select 0 hours from enrollment, the email is going to go immediately as soon as they sign up. Or you can set a date and time, which usually we do not prefer when we are setting up automatic emails, because there is a different part in Zenler where you can send out emails on a specified date and time. So I would always prefer the time on the basis of the enrollment when I want to send my email. Then you can write your name here, which can again be customized. From email can also be changed. If your admin email is not the one that you want to send emails from, sometimes admin email is a personal email that we sign up Zenler with. And that is the email that is picked up to send emails. If you want to change that, you always have an option to edit it and write again. Remember, Zenler does not have an inbox. Zenler is a medium to send the emails. That means whenever you send out an email through Zenler, it will be sent to the person, and if the person responds, the response will come to this email inbox that you have put here. This could be your Outlook, this could be your G Suite, this could be anything, but Zenler serves as a medium to send the email on your behalf rather than acting as an inbox where you can take care of the responses. So that is one thing which is very important, because a lot of times people do come to the educational live sessions and ask me that where do I take care of the responses, or where will I receive the email? It will be received in your inbox that you have created. After that, you have an option here to personalize. If you click on personalize, you can pick up the person's first name, last name, or full name in the subject line, so that when they receive an email, they see their name and the email, and the open rate increases. You can, this is a draft given to you. You can remove the entire draft and work on the email. I'm explaining one part of the email quite in detail so that when I go to the next part, it will become easier for me to explain the other parts. When you come to the draft of the email, you have multiple options. You can format the text you would want. You can bold, italics, or strike like we usually have. You can change it into lists or numerics if you would want. You can add an image as well. For example, here I want to add an image. I will click on image here. Let's say I want to choose. I'll choose this image here. And you see this image is right here. And I can also drag it and shorten the size of the email. So now my email has an image as well. Post that, I can add a table as well. I can add links. For example, I want somebody to click on this link. So I will choose these two words and I will click the link and click on insert link. Let me put zenler.com. And then I'll click on insert, and you will see this will become clickable. So now my email has a space to add a link as well. I can change sizes. I can change the colors. For example, I want to change color of this particular line. So I'll just go here and change the color of this line. And you see that the color is changed. I have an option to change the font, whether I want to make it capital or smaller. Alignment can be changed. And again, I can personalize using the course that they are a part of, their mailing address, their course name, their first name. That can be used to personalize the email. Our email should always have a mailing address. This is not something that only Zenler has a requirement. This is a requirement from all the email marketing softwares, no matter which email marketing software it is. You should have a mailing address and you should have an unsubscribe link. Only then the email will be delivered. When you send yourself a test, from here, you can send yourself a test and see how does the email look like. A lot of times people have come to me and asked that I'm unable to click the link, the unsubscribe link in the test email. That is because it is a test email. When the live email goes out, the unsubscribe link will work, so don't worry. You can also click on preview here, and in the preview, you'll be able to see how your email looks like. As we go down, every email has filters. When I click on add filter group, you have all kinds of filters that you can use. I'll click on add filter. Let's say you want to send this email or exclude certain type of people. So I can say I have multiple options such as, let me just scroll my screen. I have multiple options such as enrolled in planned, not enrolled in course, completed course, not completed course, email opened. For example, I'm sending out a third email in my course. First two emails have not been opened by people. So I will tell the system that exclude this email. Do not send this email to people who have not opened it. So email not opened. And then I will select which email is not opened. So let's say I will say access instructions email. Okay, so now this email will go to people who have not opened it. If I wanted to send it to people who have opened it, I will select email opened. Similarly, you have multiple tags here that you can use to be able to filter out your emails for the deliverability or send it to people who are engaging with you or who are reacting with your emails or your inbox. You'll be able to see the open rates. This is the systems that you have in any given email, no matter which part of the email system that you're using in Zenler. Next important thing is, let's say these emails are going out. I'll click on automations here. You'll also be able to see the delivered rate, the open rate, the clicked rate, the unsubscribed rate, and the bounce rate, along with the people who have unsubscribed, along with the people whose emails have bounced. One more important thing, you see here, notify admin. A lot of times people come to me in the live educational session and they say that I have not gotten to know that a new person has subscribed to my course. For that, you have an automation here. When you go to the email system, you click on add action and you click on notify admin. You have other as well. Add tag, remove tag, and I'll tell you what tags are as well. You have something called as notify admin. You will select the notify admin and you give a subject here and you put the mail content. Now this will be received by you as the admin. So what you can mention here is that, hi Manmeet, you have a new sign up in your course. So as soon as a new sign up is there, you will get a notification in your system that a new sign up has come forward. Once this is done, you also have course completion sequence, wherein once the person completes the course, they can receive some emails. And again, you can add 1 email, 2 emails, 3 emails to it. Along with that, all the features remain the same. After you have set up everything, you can click on make this action live. And usually when you're making the action live, you will receive a message which says, should I make it live for the existing people as well? Because this course does not have any enrollments, I did not get that message. You will get a message saying that, should I make it live for the current people as well? If you click no, then all the existing members will not get the updates that you have sent in the email. If you click yes, it will be updated for all the people that have already enrolled in the course as well. This is how you use courses email. Let's go to marketing funnels now. Marketing funnels as well have automatic emails. If I go to automation here, it only has email drip sequence. Why does it have email drip sequence? Is marketing emails usually act as a lead magnet system and it is free of cost. So you can keep increasing as many emails as you want. A lot of people create a 30-day free marketing course, 30-day free SEO course. Any kind of course that you would want to deliver through the emails or any lead magnet that you want to deliver through the email, that is what you can create here, and all the systems remain the same, like I had explained to you a while ago. One more thing that I missed in the courses, I'll just go back. You also have an option to drip your course content. When you have an option to drip your course content and you enable drip, right now the drip is enabled, you have an option to send a notification email. For example, the session number 1, you want to drip it at this date and time. You can set a notification email here and the notification email will go at the set date and time as your course is dripping. So this is another important factor in courses. We'll talk about one more email, that is the system emails. If I go to site here and I go to language, I have gone to site and I have gone to language. If you go to language here, you will find system emails. These are emails that are triggered by default as soon as an action is taken under your site. You have course enrollment free plan, course enrollment paid plans, welcome email, password change, end core enroll to course manually by admin, subscription cancelled, cart abandonment email, which is now if people come to your course or your webinar and they're trying to buy something and they leave the cart, system will now send a cart abandonment email. But you have to enable it. At the same time, if you want to change any of the content of this email or you want to personalize it, you can come here and do it. Similarly, any email that you want to open here, you can come and personalize that email here. That is also an option that you have. So these are system emails in Zenler. Next, let's go to webinar emails. These are important ones because webinar is where you are inviting them for a live. So you also have reminder emails. Now, whether we go to one-to-one booking, we go to live webinar or live interactive webinar, no matter which live are we going for, all the emails in the lives somehow remain the same. If I go again here to automation, you will see we have a register mail sequence and webinar reminder sequence. So register mail sequence is simple, that you have registered, we are waiting for you, any freebies you want to give them, any content that you want to give them, that will be given here. Then we have webinar reminder sequence. Here, if you see, we have an option to send reminders 1 hour before. So after, on, and on schedule, before scheduled time. So after is when the webinar is over. On is a specific date and time that you will choose. And before scheduled time is, let's say it is scheduled for 6 p.m. GMT on a Monday. So 5 p.m. GMT you want to send it. So these are the 3 options that you have in webinars. And since it is related to the time that you have set in the webinar, you can come here and personalize a few things. For example, a reminder, and you want to add the first name, or a few things that you want to add here or give them some kind of information. A very important thing is remember to check this, which is add calendar event. If you do not check this, it will not be added to their calendar system or the Google Calendar that they're using. Always remember to click on attach calendar event. So when Zenler will send this email, they will send a Google Calendar invite to that person so that they can add it to their calendar and they do not forget. So always check this, which is add calendar event. Whenever you're creating a reoccurring session, for example, I think this webinar topic is a one-time session, it's a single session. Whenever you are creating a multiple session, that is reoccurring session, when you go to webinar reminder sequence, like you have a checkbox here which says attach calendar event, you will also have a checkbox which says apply to all lives, because now the same emails will be going for a 5 p.m. session, a 6 p.m. session, a 7 p.m. session, and an 8 p.m. session, because you have reoccurring lives and you might have it every alternate day, every week, whatever the frequency you have set. So also ensure to mark apply to all sessions so that this reminder emails goes to all the sessions that you're doing it for. This is the same system that is followed in all lives of Zenler, whether it is one-to-one booking, whether it is a live class, whether it is an interactive webinar, or whether it is a live webinar itself. When you go to a live interactive webinar, for that matter, live interactive webinar can also be paid. So here you can add any other information that you would want to add for the audience that is enrolling for this particular paid webinar. These are different parts of Zenler wherein you can use your emails on an automatic system. You put it once and by default it is set and it will keep working until you want to go back and change it. Then we have email broadcasts. Email broadcasts are one-time emails which are sent more of a blast. Let's say that Black Friday is coming up and you want to send some kind of an offer to your audience. So when you send out this offer, you only want to send it once. This is not an automatic evergreen email that will go in your system. That is when you will create a email broadcast. When you create an email broadcast, you can click here on create new broadcast. I'll give this a title. And along with this, I will also recommend you to watch the email designer workshop that David had done. It's an hour long when the feature was launched. It talks about in detail how to design your campaigns, how to design your email broadcast, and it covers much more in detail. I'll show you how email broadcast is done, and then I definitely recommend you to watch that training. Here again, I will share my from email. And here is where the most important part is in email broadcast. Let's say I select all contacts. A lot of times people have a segment of audience they want to send to. Let's say you are running a newsletter and you want to send a particular email or a newsletter to only subscribed people in your system. So what we would do is we would click on advanced filter here and we would click on add filter group. I will click on add filter here. And now I have multiple options. Let's say I will select subscribed to funnel. I have a funnel that is called newsletter. And now I'm saying subscribed to a funnel. And let's select demo funnel here and click on save changes. Now what the system will do is, it has 0 people because it's a test site, but let's say this has 100 people. So what the system will do is, I have selected all contacts, but system is not sending it to all contacts. System is sending it to people who have subscribed to the funnel called demo funnel. However, number of people who are in this funnel will only receive my email. I also have an option to add and select a tag. Let's say I will click on add filter and I will say contain user tag contains, and I'll explain you what tags are. Let's say I will say YouTube video. And remember, I have selected and here, which means now the system will send the email to people who are subscribed to the funnel, demo funnel, and these people contain the tag YouTube video. If I select or here, matching is all, any, none. If I select or here, that means the system will do it. Either they are subscribed to the funnel, demo funnel, or they have the user tag. So both kind of people will get merged. But I'm looking for people who are also subscribed to the funnel and they have the tag as well. And I'll click changes. Most probably we'll get a 0 again because it's a test site. But let's say we get 50 people here. That means 50 people who were in the subscribe to demo funnel did not have the tag YouTube video, so they got removed. What are tags in Zenler? Whenever a new course, somebody buys a new course or somebody gets into a marketing funnel, you can tag them. How do you tag them? I'll also show you in a second. There are different ways to add tags. I'll show you how do you do it in marketing funnels. Let's go to marketing funnels here. Let's go to demo funnel. And let's click edit here. Okay, I'll go here and click on the settings. And I'll go on settings here. You see add tags. So whenever somebody will sign up to this particular funnel, I can automatically add a tag to them. Similarly, in courses as well, we can add a tag. Similarly, any other place that the person is coming from, maybe webinars, maybe interactive webinars, we can tag them separately. So when you are sending a broadcast, you would know if people have a certain tag. If your audience already does not have a tag, what you can do is you can click on site. I'll go on all. And let's say I'm selecting all the people here and there is something called as bulk actions. I'll click on bulk actions and I'll click on add tag. Now I can click and tag here. Let's say test tag. This is the one and I click on add. When I do this, all the people that I've selected right now will get the tag, test tag that I've written here. This is another way to add tag to people who are already in the system. How you can also do it is, let's say you get confused as to how do I know who to tag what. If you want to do this, what you can do is you can go on filter here, advanced filter, and you can say, let's say subscribed to course, enrolled in course. Let's say enrolled in course. And let's select the time management course. Now I've selected this. Let's say 50 people show up here. I will select those 50 people and I will add a bulk tag. So now it will take a little bit of time because you're doing it manually since the people are already in your system. You can keep choosing filters and you can keep applying bulk tag. When you do that, and now when you want to send one-off emails, you want to give an offer to only people who are in one type of course in your system, you can use the tag here. You can use the filters here. This way, using tags and filters, you can send out emails to people that you particularly want. Now I'll click on next. And this is again one important thing, and good this came up because this is a test site. If you want your deliverability to be even higher, then you have to ensure that your email authentication is done, which means the professional domain that you have. Here we have newzenler.com or zenler.com, I might say. So if I'm sending emails from manmeet@zenler.com, Zenler.com should be authenticated in the system. How will you do this? If you go to site again and you go to integrations, and inside integrations, you will see here email authentication. Email domain authentication. And this says verification pending is because this is the main site of Zenler and the email is already authenticated on the main site, so I cannot do it on a test site. But this was just another way I was showing in one of the trainings. So here you have to go, you have to put in your domain, official domain with which you have your custom domain, add the codes to your server system. There's a training on that in the support system already, and ensure that your email domain is authenticated before you send emails for a higher deliverability. So I'll click on next. And here you either have an option to start from scratch and design your own design the way you would want it, or you have an option to choose an existing design from the templates that have been given here. Let's say I choose this one and I will click on next. Now I have the template with me already. I can start making changes to these templates. I will select this picture and I have an option here to choose files. I will click on choose files and let's see if I have the logo handy. For now, I'm just selecting a random image rather than the logo. Let's say this becomes the logo. Then as I go forward, I can change the color here. It is same as you had in the system emails. It is the same. Again, I can change the text. I have an option to add a variable as well. Where we had personalized, here we have variable, first name, last name, full name, mailing address, subscribe link. Then I have the option to add margin and padding as well. I have the option to choose the font I would want. Here, one important thing that is here, which is not in normal emails, is I have an option to add the design. When you click on the plus sign, you get multiple options. Do you want a text? Do you want heading? Do you want heading and text? This is more applicable when you use the blank one and you can design your entire email the way you want to send it completely according to you. So let's say I select this one. If I like this one, so I have this section now. I can add in text here. I can add a link to the button and I can change multiple things in here and then again preview it to see how the newsletter looks like. And once you are ready with the text, the colors, the font, the images, and you like the way your newsletter looks or the email looks, the one that you're trying to send out, you can click on next and you can schedule your email. Having said that, you can also do this, that you can create a template one time and keep it saved in your system. So then the next time you want to do it, your email is ready. There's one more hack here, which works only Zenler to Zenler. If you click on the two lines here, which is HTML, and you copy the entire code. Let's say I will copy this entire code. And let me go to email broadcasts again and click on create new broadcast. Let's click on next. Let's choose a blank one this time. Okay. Now this is a blank one that I've got. I will go to the code and I will select this and delete whatever is here. And I will paste the one that I copied from here. And let's see if it works like I know it does. Let's go back. Second. I have to enter the subject. And let's click on preview email. Okay, 1 second. My system has gone for a toss. Let me reroute it. Oh, I'm definitely not doing something correct. That is why it's not showing up. But if you watch the training from David, you would see that the system works. But I might have not done something correctly, to which it is not showing up correctly. But the system works. That is how you send out email broadcasts. I will just click on next. 1 second. All right, so I'll go to this email session again, the one that we were working on. And here, if you see, like we were discussing, I'll also find out the entire hack that I was telling you, which part of the training it is, and I will mention it below this live. As you can see here, we have an option to see the mobile view as well. You can see how your entire email broadcast looks on the mobile. And if you would want to make any changes, you also have the option to change colors. For example, right now it is completely white on the background. I can also choose different colors and change the background of the email as well. Similarly, you have option to be able to change the text, the font, the alignment, all the things in your email to be able to make it look more appealing and much more nicer. These are all the emails in the Zenler system with the tags and the filters. The most important is you know the audience that you're trying to reach out to. Once you know that, once you filter them, once you're using tags, you can optimize your emails to reach the right customer to use email marketing to get more conversions for you. And you also have one more option here. You have email lists. You can also create different kinds of lists in Zenler to identify which is the emails that you're coordinating with or the audience that you have in your system. So that's about emails. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay, are we all done on the email training?
Yes, we are.
Okay, let me allow people to unmute.
And I see that some of you have been asking for that training. I will quickly grab the link and share it with you.
Yeah, I tried to dig it out, I couldn't find it.
I'll do that.
Okay, right. Okay, so if any of you have questions on this, you are now able to unmute and to jump on with us if you wish. Do feel free to do so. Don't think there's been too many questions in the chat. A couple about authentication. I've sent you the link for the YouTube training on that. That should still be correct. Manmeet's going to give you the link to the email training, wherever that is. So that's on its way. We'll find that in a minute, hopefully. Sandy's asking, is there any tasks to do after this particular session? We normally have a task for people to do.
Yes, there is. I am just pasting the link on the chat. Okay, so one, I have given you the link for the training, and the task for this particular session is that you have to create a email design for yourself, a template for yourself that you can usually use to send it to your audience, which means you should have a header, maybe your logo or your tagline, a footer which has some information about you that your audience can grab, and have an email template ready to be able to email your audience. Once you create that template, you can send emails to us as a sample, or you can take screenshots and put it on the group to see how wonderfully well the emails in Zenler can work for you.
Yeah, don't email them to us, put them on take a screenshot and put them into the group. Is everybody clear on how to make an email template? Is everybody okay with that? Did anybody struggle to follow that? Everyone's okay with it? No, I didn't follow, Bryn says. Can you just go through creating the email template again, Manmeet, a little bit slower this time, please?
Sure. All right, I'll do that.
No, it's all right, Barbara. We're gonna go back through it again now, a little bit slower. I think we went through that a little bit super speedy, so we'll slow it down a bit.
All right. So as I click on new email broadcasts, so let's click on email template and click on create. So as we come here, you have either a blank canvas to start with, or you have an option to select a template that is already available. Since a template that is already available is easy to edit, you can use the features of the template system to edit the templates. I'll choose a blank one and I'll show you how you can do it. So let's say we choose a blank one. And I have options here to add things. So I'll click on the plus sign. And let's say I want to add an image first, which is a logo. Then I'll go next. One second, let me add something else here. I'll add a heading here. Then let's say I want to add an image. As these two are done, you have a plus icon here. So click on the plus icon and you can choose what you want. Let's say the next thing that I want to do is I want to be able to add 2 headings and 2 text, as usually a newsletter or long email looks like. Then I will go down and I will add another plus icon. Let's say here I want to add a button. Click on plus. Here I want to add socials. So fairly, if I see, a structure has been created already. Now I can edit here and put my own details. I can also change the color if I want of this particular section. In the image, I will click on this image icon and click on choose files. Let's say I choose this to be added as an image. Now I can go ahead and change the font, the text, the colors, however I would want to change here. As we saw in the normal email system, we also have variables here if I would like to personalize with a first name, a last name, or a full name. As we move down, a basic structure is ready, and now you can go about editing the font, the color, the style, the text, and the way you want to personalize it. Once that is done, you can always click on preview funnel and you have a sort of a design ready for yourself. This is not the best design, is because this is just a template. As you go about making changes into it, making alignment changes into it, you will see that a design that looks beautiful to send to your audience will come up. I hope this helps. And the training that I've mentioned would definitely help you.
Okay, and that saves that now as a template, does it?
Yes, correct.
So can you just show people how to go back and use that as a template now?
Okay, all right. So when you save it as a template, what you would have to do is you would have to save that particular email broadcast as a template. So I'll go on next. Okay, I'll have to put a subject line. And I will save as draft here. So every time I want to create, and this is called email template, right? Every time I want to create a new email, what I'll do is I'll click on clone here and I will use this particular template. And keep this draft, do not use the original draft ever, so that every time you want to go back, you can click on clone and you can use the email template that you've created for yourself.
Okay, so did everybody get that? So you go in, create a broadcast email, pick a template, customize the template, save it as a draft, come out, and then you call that draft one, call it template one, call it whatever you want, and then you have to go and clone that to then create your next one with the same looking email. Okay? So it's pretty easy. You can't, there isn't, unlike blocks where you can save it as a block, we don't have that functionality within the email designer. So we have to, it's sort of a workaround of doing it. So it doesn't add it to the template library, unfortunately, at the moment. But hopefully that will come. That's sort of the goal. Cool. Okie dokie. So I think we've got some more questions coming now. So that answers where do we find it when we've created it. That's cool. How do we use it again? Answer that. That's fine. Somebody asked about granular subscribe and unsubscribe. So do you want to talk about the unsubscribes, Manmeet?
Yes, 1 second. I'll also share. So recently, Zenler has also come up with granular unsubscribe, which means now users can have an option to which part of the system emails they want to unsubscribe from, whether it is funnels, whether it is courses, or another part of your system. I will just share the document here real quick. Page.
Yeah, Tracy's just reminding us that drafts don't last longer than 12 months. You can actually clone a sent email as well. So once you've sent the email, you can then clone that. So if you're regularly sending out an email once a week or once a month, for example, you won't fall foul of losing the draft. It will continue to be there. Good question here. Whilst Manmeet's doing this, regarding people getting their emails delivered into spam. So one of the things we have very little control over is how people receive emails. And things like Gmail and that are very aggressive in the way they determine what's spam and what's not spam. So we have to train our people very simply to say, look, if I send you an email, you need to tell your email system this is okay. So one of the ways of getting around this is by making sure that you tell your students at the very, very beginning, before they even receive an email. I often put this on sign-up forms, underneath sign-up forms, or on the thank you for signing up page. Please add email address to your address book. Okay? Because if they add it into their address book, into the system that's receiving it, it should, in theory, receive that email into the normal feed. Okay, rather than it getting flagged as spam, because they're telling their system this email address is okay because I've added it into my address book. Make sense?
Yes.
So that's one way that we can try and deal with that. It's not a foolproof way because sometimes they do still slide in. And this is why nowadays we have to do what we call email warming up. So if we've got an email address that we haven't used before, we need to warm that email address up. And there are techniques for doing that. And maybe that's for another day, for another training. But, you know, there are ways to do that. And this is all because of the whole authentication thing. If you've done the domain authentication as well, it will help with deliverability, as we mentioned earlier. So it's worth going through that process because you only need to go through it once. It's a bit like putting a custom domain on Zenler. It sort of sounds quite scary, but you do it and you do it once and then it's done. And the same with your email system. You do it once and it's done. You haven't got to keep doing it again, but it will help for sure. And if you tell your students in advance, I will be emailing you from this email address. Please add it to your address book. It used to be put it onto the white label list, the white list, to add it on there. But now it's stick it into the address book and put it in the safe sender list or whatever it is that they need to do. They need to tell their system it's okay. You can't, apart from doing the authentication, there's nothing you can do and warming the email address up that will stop some systems putting it into spam. So we do three things: warm up the email address, authenticate on the system that we're sending it from, until the people receiving it add it into their address book. And if you do those three things, the likelihood of it being flagged as spam is less. Not guaranteed, but less. Make sense? I think that's a yes.
Yes, and also what I've done is since the granular unsubscribe has also come in lately. It's been a year. Last March is when the granular unsubscribe came in. I've shared the short training video for 10 minutes on the chat, and you can watch this and understand the granular unsubscribe.
Scott's saying he uses a warm-up service. There are companies out there that will warm your email addresses up for you. A slight trick here is just do it either with your own email addresses or do it with people that you know. So if you have access to 4 or 5 different email addresses, right, you can do it yourself. You don't actually need to use a service to do it. But if you don't have access to 4 or 5 different email addresses, then you need to find some people that will do it with you or use a service like Scott's saying. So, but as I say, that gets into a little bit of a woolly area of going off topic a little bit. I tell them on the thank you page to check. That's great, Angela. Where do I go to clean up or edit my tags? Right, so can you just take us through the tagging bit a little bit, Manmeet? Where can they see the tags? Where can they add a tag? How do they create a tag? That type of thing.
Yes, so if you would have watched while I was going through the training, there are multiple places to add a tag. One is it happens automatically when someone is subscribing to your funnels or to your, things in Zenler. For example, in a marketing funnel, I'll share my screen again. 1 second. And if you watch the replay of this session, you'll see that I had covered it while you go in a marketing funnel. Let's say this is the marketing funnel. I'll click on funnel steps. I click on settings here. You'll see you'll have an option to add a tag. If you add a tag here, automatically, whenever the person subscribes to this particular funnel, will automatically get that tag. Another option is to add bulk tags manually in the system. If there is already a contact list in your system already, you can add tags to them on the basis of the things they are subscribed to in your Zenler system. If they are subscribed to a funnel, you can give them a tag funnel lead using the bulk tag option. If they are subscribed to your courses, you can give them a tag that particular course name or course tag as well. And as you move forward and you're sending your email broadcast or any other emails in your system, you can use the filters in the tags as well. For example, if I go to email broadcasts here, and I'll click on this. If you see, I go to advanced filter and click on add filter group. You have an option here to be able to say that tag contains or tag does not contain. So this is where you can use your tags to be able to see that which is the kind of people you want to send an email to, or which are the kind of people you want to exclude from sending the email. So that is how you can use your tags. There is no one particular place where tags are visible in your system, but this is how you can use your tags to be able to target your audience inside your Zenler system. I hope that answers the question.
There's been a few questions about subscribing and unsubscribing from particular courses or lists. That's now possible, of course. So that you can look at. It's probably easier to look at that on YouTube. I think we've got a YouTube video on that.
Yes, absolutely, because I am not the one who has been using Granule Unsubscribe a lot. That is why I've shared the link here. I'll
Yeah.
pop it up again. It's a quick 10-minute video, and you'll be able to understand how your users can have an option to choose where they want to unsubscribe from.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing to consider is tags is the new way of actually making those emails for the right people. Because before we just used to use lists, and then we ended up creating list upon list upon list upon list, and it just went on forever. And now the sort of way people are doing it a lot is having a list or maybe two lists, and then using the tags to differentiate. So you can see how easy it is in Zenler to actually just everyone in one list. How do we segment who we want to receive? Well, we do it by they're in a course, they've got a tag, they've got whatever. I would always suggest, somebody said, well, how do I see the list of tags? I'd keep that separate in a spreadsheet. Just keep it outside on a spreadsheet as to what you're doing the tags for. It's a bit like when you're adding it into your media library and you're putting tags on there as well, right? You need to be able to understand what you're tagging, what reason it's for, and all of that. It's a bit like when you outline your courses. There isn't somewhere in Zenler necessarily to do that. You need to do that outside on however you do it, on a mind map or whatever it might be. And the same thing with the tags. Just keep it in a Google Doc or something like that. It's really easy to do. And then you can just keep that updated that way. Yeah, remember it's just shared the link for the granular unsubscribe there, so that would be a good one to go through. So when people sign up through various funnels, do they all end up in the mailing list? So Bryn, I think of it like this. So if I have one person come in, so let's say it's Manmeet, and it's manmeet@zenler.com, right? And she goes to my funnel number one and she goes, right, I really like this. I'm going to go and sign up for this freebie. Right, I would add a tag. So she'd go into my master list and I would have a tag funnel number one. Okay. So I know she's come in, she's subscribed, she's in that funnel. If she then in 3 months' time goes, oh, I really like funnel number two, right? And she goes and subscribes. She's already in the system. Her email, manmeet@zenler.com, is already in my system. So what it will do, it will then add tag funnel number two. So when I go and look at Manmeet's account, like as a user, as a lead, whatever it's student, whatever she may be, or combination, I go and find her. It will have on there two tags attributed to her. Okay, but she's in one list. Make sense? So that's the easiest way that I can describe it. So the more they get involved, so they'll have one account, one email address, but the more they do within your site will mean the more tags that are attributed to them. So you can then determine what they're doing and where they are by the tags that are added. Of course, there's other ways. We can look at what courses they're subscribed to. We can look at what funnels, we can get all of that in the reports anyway. But it saves you having to have lots of lists. And what happens if you have, say you have some customers that you know quite well and you think they're in a list, it's quite a big list, but they're not actually in there, and you send the broadcast out and they're not actually in that list, right? But if you know that they've been tagged because they're in a course, 100% because you're talking to them. You know that you can then send them the email and they'll receive it. Yeah. It's really, really easy to forget who's in a list and who's not, especially as the list gets bigger. It's much easier to know, right, I want to contact everyone that's in that funnel. I want to contact everyone that's in that course, right? If
That
you
makes a lot
try,
of sense. Yeah. That's helpful. And then also being able to say this one and this one and this one in the filters and not this one. That's amazing.
yeah,
So my follow-up question to that is, if I want to bring my email list from my outside provider, where I
yep.
do my mailing list, my newsletter, into Zenler, there's a couple questions there. One is, I've heard the best practice is to create a freebie to bring them over and have them go that way rather than bulk upload them for deliverability and stuff like that.
Not heard that one before. Manmeet, have you heard that one?
No, I would agree because that is your list. People have already subscribed to you or your website. I think you have the option to be able to export and import and change your email marketing preference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you do it that way and they miss that email, then you've lost a subscriber.
Right.
If as long as they've subscribed, if you're moving services, what can be a nice way of introducing your move of service is to actually send them an email before you move and get that list and go, look, I'm moving to a different email provider. I'm going to be moving everyone that receives this email into my new list. Okay. If you don't want it, you can unsubscribe, let me know. Right. But it's all that's changing is I'm just changing my provider, just so you're aware. Right.
Okay.
So it
Yeah, I
sort
think
of
it's
keeps them
done as a way of
updated.
cleaning up the list of people that aren't active anymore.
You want to clean up the list.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so say I've exported contacts from the Zenler to my outside thing, and now I import them all back here. If they're already there, they're not going to be duplicated, hopefully, right? Because they're already in the system, those who are, because not all.
Absolutely. So once an email ID is registered in Zenler, if you're trying to bring them again, Zenler will tell you that they'll update when you download the sample Excel sheet from Zenler, they give you certain options of how you can upload your data. So if you're uploading the same data into the Zenler system, you will get a message saying that this already exists. Do you want to update the data? Because one email ID can only be registered once. So that is definitely there.
Good, good.
One unique email ID. Yeah.
And when we bulk import, can we tag?
Yes, you can. When
Okay.
you bulk upload, you also get an option to tag them as well while you're uploading it.
Okay. Thank you. That's helpful. And then for sending out the newsletter, now you do that in bulk in broadcast.
Yeah.
And then you just say all contacts, or you do the filter for who you want to send it to.
Correct.
Now, what happens if people sign up later? So I know other solopreneurs who they have it in their system, all the like the sequence of newsletters that someone who subscribes then starts getting from the beginning of that. Then that would be done in a funnel.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Good. I'm understanding better.
Yes.
It can take a while to get your head round as to how you want to deliver it and make sure that it's delivered the right way. Broadcast emails for me are sort of a one and done situation, because you have to sit there and you have to schedule them all. And generally speaking, once they're sent, they're sent. And if anybody subscribes after that, they don't get it. It's that simple. So if you want everybody to get a specific email in a sequence, it has to go through a funnel.
And if
There
it's
is,
for a live at a specific date, then you just do broadcast.
yeah. Or you can put it into the automation that goes with the live.
Right, right. Like this. Now that's interesting because this you scheduled through a funnel, these live, this
Correct.
series, not through a course, through a funnel.
This is done through a funnel.
And why was the choice to do it through a funnel rather than in a course? Because in the past we've seen how to add lives to a course.
It comes down to personal choice. I've often done trainings like this in a course, as a lot of you will know, because that's the way that I like to deliver it. Other members in the team have decided that a funnel is another way of delivering this type of training, so they wanted to showcase that's a way of doing it. So which is why we're doing it currently this way. It has different abilities. There's pluses and minuses for doing both. So I think because it's faster to set up as well in a funnel, or it can be. In this, we've only got a couple of pages. That's all we need. So we've got our sign up page, we've got our thank you page, and we've got our replay page. That's it. In a course, we would have more pages to edit than that. We'd have 4 pages, plus we'd have the course page, the lessons and the module and all of that. So there's a bit more to edit in there to be able to manage it.
And why a funnel and not just through the live registration?
I think if I can add to it, one of the reasons I also feel is that when it's a course, the user also has to every time log in into with a username password and has to log in into the course to be able to access the lives. When they have signed up in a funnel, all of you would be attending this session with the emails that you're receiving from Kevin. And the live link is in the email. And when the live is in the course, you have to log into your system, you have to go to the live and then join. That could be one of the reasons that I can think of for the faster process.
Yeah, it's just showing the versatility of the platform. And, that's all there is to it. And to answer your question, why do we not just do it in the live area? Well, we can. We go off, technically we're with this, what you're on right now is a one-to-one live. Okay. Why are we using one-to-one lives? Because we can get the direct access link from it, as we went through in session number 4, right? Stick that in the email so we can pre-do all of those emails, and then we haven't got to go back and and make you register and all of that stuff to watch the coming on Zoom. We don't want you to do that. We just want you to click a link and come in, right? So we do that via the one-to-one, right? And although it says one-to-one, clearly it's not, because we've got one-to-many, right? It's just what it's named. We could have called it 1 to a million. It wouldn't, the name of it's irrelevant. And I think this is a big problem I have with these systems is you have to call off something, but often what we call it isn't all it can do. And therefore, we've debated this. I was debating it with Rakesh when the new communities came out, when we were calling it a community that's within a category. And I'm like, well, I find that confusing. And they're like, but no, it works this way. And I'm like, I get it, but it also works the other way, right? But at some point, someone has to make a choice and go, well, that's what it's going to be, right? And I think a lot of whatever platform you use, you'll find stuff that, oh, it can do that as well, or I can use it for that instead. And that happens in a lot of ways. And I think Zenler's no different in that way. So, how do you deliver a training workshop like this? I could probably think of about 5 different ways. And one of the most obvious ways that we've never done it is using live interactive webinars. But surely that would be one of the first things you think of. But it's not, because we've never done it that way. Maybe we will, I don't know. So, it comes down to what do you find easier? And now we've got this set up, we can now go when we do our next workshop, which is going to be launching in a couple of weeks. We literally all we have to do is go over to the funnel, clone the funnel, change the details. It's all set up for us. Go in, and all we've got to do is edit all of the live links in the one-to-ones, and it's set up within probably an hour to get a complete workshop up and running and done.
That was my next question. So you would clone it rather than just rerun it.
100%. 100% clone it.
Hmm.
Because remember, we've got people already in this funnel. So if we rerun it, then we run the risk of notifying people that have been through it that don't want to go through it again.
Yeah.
And it might be, and it will probably be on a different topic.
Mm.
So it'll be a completely different thing.
Oh, okay. So then you would edit the pages as well and the topic and everything, but then you just, oh, I get it. So it doesn't
Yeah,
even
but
have
it's really easy. But
workshop.
the one thing that you really have to keep your eye on is editing the links, because it will come up with the links with copy on the end of it.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Just like it does in when you clone a course or you clone anything, it comes up with copy on the end of it. So you've got to make sure you look at the links and change them. Otherwise, it will look ridiculous and mess you up.
Thanks.
So yeah, that's pretty. But as I say, that's one way of doing it. There's multiple ways of achieving the same goal, always. You know, and it's just the way currently we're doing it. As I say, for the first 3 years, we did all of our workshops and boot camps using courses. We did some that had the live class element added into each of the lessons, which was each of the sessions. And you know what, it worked really well. Because as long as they were in for the course, they didn't have to actually subscribe for the live because it was already in there. Right. So that was another way of doing it, and it worked. Before we had lives, I don't know if you lot remember, before we had live Zoom and all of that live, we actually did the first workshops using YouTube and did a YouTube live directly streamed into a class. Right? Wouldn't do it now, but that's what we did. So, you know, you just got to try what works for you and do it that way. So, but yeah, so maybe we should do a workshop on the many ways to do the same thing. Yeah, I agree. There is you know, there's multiple ways to do the same thing, and it really does come down to how you feel comfortable doing these things, running them, setting them up. You know, what's quickest for you. Because ultimately,
Speaking of doing the same thing multiple ways, this is off topic, but may I ask it?
you can ask. I might not answer, but go ahead.
Because I just listened to the replay of the funnels, and we're talking about this being on a funnel. If I wanted to give a freebie as a free course instead of a funnel, are there any negatives to that? Pros, cons?
No, there's no negatives. You can set lessons up as free. So some lessons up as free. You can set the whole course up as free. You could set it to after the funnel ends you can direct them to a course, and you can wrap 100% coupon code around it and give it. See, I don't actually like giving free. What I like to do is say to them, look, this is worth $100, but I'm going to give you 100% coupon off. And the reason I do it is because then they understand the value of what they're getting. If you just say have it for free, people think there's no value to it. Whereas if you say, well, I'm giving you my course, which is worth $100, $5, whatever, you've got to put a coupon code in. There's a psychological impact that has on people that go, that's worth something and I'm getting it for nothing. So they value it more.
Yes.
So I'm much more of I'd like to do it that way. So if I was doing it in a funnel, I would direct them to a course and probably say to them on that, check your email because I'm giving you 100% coupon code off of that, or wrap a coupon code around it. But I prefer to do it by sending it in email, because then they open my email as well, because they're all going to be scrabbling around for it going, I want the coupon, right? So they're going to find that email, no matter if it's in spam, junk, or wherever it's filtered it to, they're going to find it and then go and put it in and then get that 100% off.
I like it.
You got to make them work for the benefit, right?
And then it's some more perceived value. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, free is okay for a test. Like we do it where we can give them a free lesson or whatever. That's fine. Because it's sort of like, well, do you like the sound of my voice? Do you like this and the way I've structured it? That's all right. But just to say, here's a whole thing for free, I don't think is great. Unless it's attached, you know, if you was to attach it to something else, as in a bundle, and that may be slightly different. But I like to get people to understand there's a value behind something. And of course, if you put time into it, there is, of course, a value. Whether you decide to charge that value or not is irrelevant. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means you're not currently charging for that. But also, if you turn around and say, actually, next month, this isn't, I'm not giving it away for free. I'm charging people. You just get rid of the coupon code. You just go, it's done.
On that note, just for everyone, like I was just talking to a friend who signed up for a course and was like, oh my gosh, we got the early bird discount. It was 50% off. I can't believe we got it for so little. It's worth so much. And I thought, wow, good marketing. Because
Yeah.
the regular rate is so outrageous, you know. So the early bird is like what you would charge, you know. So I thought that was
Yeah, people do like to stack things up and add the value of what they believe it to be. I think, you know, a lot of the time people see through it, the JV zoos of the world and all of that stuff. We've all seen it where it's stacked upon stacked upon stacked. And, you know, they get to the bottom and it's like you need a calculator to work out what the number is. And it's so many tens of millions of thousands. And by the way, I'm giving it to you for just $27. Yeah, you're not. Um, you know, but and I look at it and I do laugh. And then when you know, I've given up on things like that where you get through the 10th upsell page of, you know, I just want this, just give it an oh no, I'm gone now. Right, you've killed it for me. So I'm off. So you do have to, I think there is a level where you should be really genuine in the way that you make these offers. It's not a game of trickery or deception or perceived good marketing. I think there has to be a level of honesty behind it. And if you're genuinely giving a discount, give a discount. If you're genuinely giving something of value for free for a period of time, make sure that that's true, because people will sense it if it's not. Just my opinion, of course. 10 million yours for 10 million yours for 1997. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we've wildly gone off topic here. Manmeet's, I think, gone. I think I've sent her off into email hell.
No, I'm very much here.
Okay, cool. Okay, so back onto the topic of email, because David will be listening to this as he's editing it. And he might cut this bit out, I don't know. But all good conversation, right? And part of workshops is about opening conversation, because a lot of stuff's linked. And you'll have seen with the email just how many it's a bit like the page editor. The page editor comes into so many bits of Zenler. Of course, other things come up as discussion. And the same with emails. They're everywhere within the platform. So it's, of course, going to spark conversation around other things as well. So it's important that we talk about these things. Question that regarding emails, and I'll let you handle this one, Manmeet. Somebody did ask, excuse me, I've forgotten the name, but I've remembered the question. They asked whether you can have different sender email addresses for different courses or funnels or broadcasts.
Absolutely. I think it was Carol. She's mentioned it again in the chat. Like I said, Carol, it is possible because the from email is something that is editable and you can change it anytime. So you might have a different email for a marketing funnel, might have a different one for courses, might have a different one for other parts of Zenler. Having said that, each of that email that you're using should have an active inbox. Because if a person responds to that email and it goes nowhere, that is when you could lose a conversation with that particular person. So even if you choose to use different emails, I would say I would not prefer different emails, is because the more conversations open on one email inbox, your deliverability, your warm up, and the authority of your email inbox increases. That is how emails, top up in the inbox and do not go to spam and promotions. I would not prefer that, but if that is something you still want to do, so ensure that each of the emails that you're using has an active inbox. I hope that answers the question. These inboxes that I'm mentioning here are your own inboxes, your G Suite, your Outlook, or any other provider that you're using, because Zenler is a medium to send the emails. But the replies and the responses happen in your personal inbox. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, we used to do this at Zenler on the tutorial site. So if we were sending emails out, we'd have it Kevin from Zenler, Manmeet from Zenler, and all of that. And then we got a unified inbox. So we got a team at Zenler email, and it all goes from that now, because all of the replies then go into that. Because I'm notorious for not replying to my emails at Zenler. I've got thousands of them in there, and I just go in each month and just click all and delete. It's just because I don't have time to read them and I forget it exists. So now everything is team at Zenler and reply to with what we do, because then we have one person that moderates that and forwards it and tells us elsewhere that it's there. So yeah, you can 100% do it, but just remember, it would be useful from a instructor's point of view, as in if you wanted instructors to be responsible for their own course emails and replies, that would be, I could see that being a good use case of why you would do that. If you do it and it's just because you want to try and filter them into different inboxes, I think that could become a little, it could misalign your brand slightly. People could get a bit confused as to who you are, what they're sending and where it's going to. I think that could happen, but yeah, be cautious with it, because I think it can come across a little bit people unsure about it and not really know what's going on. They may expect an email reply from a certain email that they know of yours, and if you're replying from the one that because you've changed it, again, you might fall foul of the going into the spam box, them not recognizing it. They might not see it as important because they don't know who it's from, all of those types of things. Unless, of course, it's got the same at whatever it is, .co.uk.com, whatever at the end. So be cautious with that one, I would say, unless you've got a very specific reason for doing it. And the only one I can think of is different instructors taking that responsibility. Right, have we got any more questions or are we done?
It just occurred to me. Okay, may I, or is there someone else? Sorry.
Yeah, no, go on. I'm just looking at Scott's comment. I'll come back to that in a minute.
I'm still wrapping my head around, like, okay, creating a newsletter funnel that I want people to be able to come into later. And I'm realizing, like, I have two different target markets. I could create two different newsletter funnels for each market and do that by tagging. People that come in through this freebie for women go there, this freebie for couples go there, and then they get more information about that.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
You just need to plan it out, and just sometimes putting it down on paper helps.
Yeah.
Because you can see the flow of how it works. Because a lot of the time we sit here in the digital world and keep it in our head, and it can get a little bit mixed up in there.
Yeah, and people might come through one funnel or another, or a course. So just with the tagging, be like, exclude people who've already done that if I'm promoting that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the easiest things to do is to promote something to what someone's already got, right? And it's a little bit aggravating when you get an email like that. You're sort of like, well, you don't really know me. Why have you not taken the trouble to recognise I've already done this? It's a little annoying. Most people know that they should get appropriate emails, right? And to say someone, come and buy this course, and the email you get back is, well, I've already bought it. You want me to pay again? I mean, come on, sort yourself out. It's not a good look. So the tagging, I think, is really important for that. and to make sure people get the right email being sent to them. Not only that, think of it like this. I go in and buy your course and I bought it in January, paid $100 for it. Month later, suddenly you send me an email and go, here's this course. It's 90% off. Do you want it? And I'll be like, hang on a minute, I've just bought that in January and I've paid full whack for that. It's not that you're hiding it. It's just the fact you don't really want to rub people's faces in it. Yeah. So it's good for a number of reasons to get the tagging strategy down right. So Scott's mentioned a comment here about it's against the law to send email from a personal address. It must be from a registered domain like your company. An interesting statement. I'll tell the tens of thousands of builders that I see roaming around Essex and London with @gmail.com addresses, which are clearly personal addresses, that they need to go and burn their trucks because they're not allowed to use those. Manmeet, what's your thoughts on this one?
I have not heard this one, but usually it is said that it is for deliverability that you use a professional email ID so that it lands and warms up the inbox, but I haven't heard. And Scott says he didn't say that people follow the law.
Listen, right, a lot of this comes down to just common sense, right? You go and get a domain name, a professional domain name, you go and buy it from somewhere, you have to register who the owner is of that domain. That's the first thing, right? So there is a trial back to who you are. If you don't, the who is people will come along and shut your domain down, right? It's that simple. It doesn't matter if you're in the UK, the US, India, well, it doesn't matter, right? If you don't put a registered keeper to it, if you like, the domain name, they get rid of you. Right, that's it. So that's the first bit of authentication that ever happens before you even set an email address up. Right, then you go off, you set your email up. Now there's nothing in law that says you've got to authenticate that domain and put the DKIM thing and all of that in. There's nothing that says you have to, but if you don't, you probably won't get your email delivered. Right. So we tell people, or Gmail have said to people, look, we are going to send our users business emails if you haven't done that, and we're going to check it. So there's sort of warning you, it's a good way to do it, but it's not a law. It's just, if you don't do it, we're probably not going to deliver your email to people, right? And that's their choice, that's their company, that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. You can't stop them from doing it. So a lot of it is not about what's legally correct or not, apart from the who is people that make you register a domain, right? Because that's all about, it's not just about emails, it's about websites and all of that as well. You know, fraudulent websites, people scamming people and all of that. That's part of the tracking process behind it. But it is about doing the right thing and doing what you can to make sure people receive that email. And go back 15 years, 20 years, you didn't need any of this stuff. You just set one up, off you went, it all got delivered and it all got opened. But gradually over time, where people have abused it, they've had to get tighter on what's done and what's not done. And now it comes down to what's a good way of operating. A bit like if you go into a business meeting with someone, how do you approach that business meeting? Do you get up in the morning, don't brush your hair and walk in your pajamas, right? You probably wouldn't want to do that, right? Because if you do, they'll laugh you out of the room and you're not going to get anywhere. Well, that's what people do when they're not doing the proper stuff with their email authentication and all of. They're turning up to Google in their pajamas and expecting to be opened and be welcomed and, yeah, come in, we'll show you all what you're doing. No, they're not going to do it. So that's how I view it, and that's why I think it's worth going just those extra few steps to try and warm stuff up, do it properly, do it right. Yeah, it's a bit of a pain when you're doing it because it feels a little overwhelming, but the result is a professional result. It gets you what you want, which is your email at least delivered, right? And then you've got to work on everything else to get the thing opened. Which is a whole different conversation. We ain't even going to go there, right? But so the delivery bit is the critical bit, Because if it's never delivered in an inbox, the likelihood of it being opened is pretty minuscule. Or someone might go through their junk and find it from 3 months ago and it's too late. That happens a lot. I get that. I get it in my own inbox like that, where I see stuff and it's gone into junk and I'm like, oh, that would have been handy, you know. But hey ho.
I think that's a really nice way of putting the analogy of how you walking into your pajamas. I'll remember that one.
Copyright. I'm just copywriting it, right? So you can pay me every time you use it. That'd be annoying. No, you can have it. I don't care. Right, okay. What about the new cookies? Bryn, is there a way to provide that on Zenler? Yeah, we have a cookie consent, don't we? Do you know what I'm referring to? The pop-up on all websites for yeah, we've got that. Zenler has cookie consent pop-up. You probably haven't seen it because you probably accepted it ages ago and it's still accepted. So you probably haven't seen. So log out of your own site, go in. If not, we covered this, I think, in session 1 where the cookie consent toggle was to turn it on. So yeah, but they are there. Okay, right. We're now going wildly off topic from emails. So I'm going to start wrapping up. Listen, it's been a great session as always. We are back on Tuesday. Thank you, Manmeet, for taking us through emails today. Great insight into what we can do within the system. Hopefully it's got you thinking in a positive way. Your challenge, if you like, is to go off and create a templated broadcast email, one that you will use every time that you do a broadcast email. So not a plain one, not just a standard template that's already there, but one you've gone in and adapted and you're like, right, I've branded this nicely. You know, even if you top and tail it and then just leave the middle bit blank if you want, do it that way, but make it yours, how you would like, a bit like a business card. You know, how's it going to look every time you send that broadcast out? Do that, share that into the group, into the Facebook group to get entered into the swag giveaway for Thursday. So yeah, there's lots of new branded swag being given away. I think there's quite a few people joined that so far, so that'll be quite nice. I'm back on Tuesday, so we're going to look at everything support. So this will be technical support. It will be educational support and everything in between. So we're going to be going through that in quite some detail because things are starting to change a little bit. So that will be quite useful for people, especially people that may be new to Zenler as well, or that are not always getting the help they feel they should be in the places that they're asking for it. And that's quite a common one. So we'll go through that on Tuesday and then we'll wrap up on next Thursday. So that's the last one of this particular series for the tour of Zenler. So that's where we are. Listen, enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's great that you've all been here with us today. Manmeet, thank you again. And I will catch you on Tuesday.
Thank
See you all later.
everyone.